Identity. I am what I think I am. Is it better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection? With perfection? 뭐지? What does this mean? Okay. It's better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection. Okay, I see. I'm not what I think I am, and that I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. Oh my gosh. Even it's the first it's first sentence. It's so impressive. Okay, so I'm not what I think I am, and I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. Yeah, that's true. I am what I think you think I am. Okay, 알았어요. A little bit tired, but that's okay. Okay, settle in. Unconsciously, we are all method acting to some degree. We have personas we play all night at work, with friends, and at home. These different personas have their benefits. We bring our work role home with us, and we take the role we play with our friends into a romantic life without any conscious control or intention. How we successfully play our roles, we end up feeling dissatisfied, depressed, unworthy, and unhappy. The I and me, small and vulnerable to begin with, get distorted. When you try to live your most authentic life, some of your relationship will put in your jeopardy. Losing them at a risk, worth it very. Find a way to keep them in your life isn't a challenge worth taking on. The reaction to our choice to become a monk are examples of external pressures we all face throughout our lives. Our families, our friends, and society media. We are surrounded by images and voices telling us who we should be and what we should be. They clamor with opinions and expectations and obligations. Go straight from high school to best college. Find a lucrative job. Get married. Buy home. Have children. Get promoted. Cultural norms existed for a reason. There is nothing wrong within a society that offers models in what is a fulfilling life might look like. If we take on these goals without reflection, we will never understand why we don't own a home or we are not happy where we live, why our job is a horror, whether we even want to spouse or any of the goals that we're striving for. I didn't shut out the people who had loved me. I cared about them. Didn't want them to worry. But neither did I let their destiny or definition of success or happiness dictate my choices. It was at the time the hardest decision I ever made. And it was the right one. We will start this journey the way most do, be clearing away temptations. First, we'll look at the extreme forces that shape us and distract us from our values. Then we will take a stock of values, then currently shape our lives and reflect on whether they are in line with who we want to be and how we want to live. Focusing on what matters most, finding meaning in life and mastering physical and mental desires. Higher values propel and elevate us toward the happiness, fulfillment, and the meaning. Lower values demote us to I'm sorry. Lower values demote us toward anxiety, depression, and suffering. According to the Gita, there are the higher values and qualities: fearlessness, purity of mind, gratitude, service, and charity, acceptance, performing sacrifice, deep study, austerity, straightforwardness, nonviolence, cheerfulness, absence of anger. Renunciation, perspective, restraint from fault finding, compassion toward all living beings, satisfaction, gentleness or kindness, integrity, determination. Notice that happiness and success are not among these values. These are not values and their rewards, the end game, and the will address them further in chapter 4. The 6 other values are greed, lust, anger, ego, illusion, and envy. If these choices work out well for us, then our values are aligned with our actions. But when things don't work out, it worth revisiting what drove the decisions you made. Try these past values. Reflect on the best and the worst choices you ever made. Why did you make them? What have you learned? How would you have done it differently? You may have been with the right or wrong person for the same reason, because you value love. Once you filter out the noise of opinion, expectations, and obligations, you will see the world through different eyes. We have to record emotions needs, which I like to think of as peace, love, and understanding. A fear that bad things are going to happen, loss of peace, a fear of not being loved, loss of love, or a fear of being disrespected, loss of understanding. Their core need for peace and security is threatened. Bad things do happen in our lives. We're all victims at some point. We are social cultures who get most. Not culture, creatures. We are social creatures who get most of what we want in life: peace, love, and understanding from the group we get around us. Our brains adjust automatically to both harmony and disagreement. We've already talked about how we unconsciously try to please others. Well, we also want to agree with others. Research has proven that most humans value social conformity so much that we change their own responses, even their perceptions, to align with the group, even when the group is blatantly wrong. This phenomenon has been called groupthink bias. We are wired to conform with your brain would rather not deal with a conflict and debate. It would much prefer to lounge in the comfort of like-mindedness. Okay, that's not a bad thing if we're surrounded by, say, monks. But if we're surrounded by gossip, conflict, or negativity, we start to see the world in those terms. Just like the people who went against their own minds in Alger's learning experiment. We think that complaining will help us process our anger, but research confirms that even people who report feeling better after venting are still more aggressive post-agree than the people who did not engage in venting. Studies show that negativity like mine can increase aggression toward the random, uninvolved people, and the more negative your attitude, the more likely you are to have the negative attitude in the future. Studies also show that long-term stress, like generated by complaining, actually shrinks your hippocampus, that's region of your brain that affects reasoning and memory. Cortisol, the same stress hormone that take a tour of a hippocampus also impairs your immune system and has loads of other harmful effects. I'm not blaming every illness on negativity, but if you remain positive, it can prevent even one of the winter colds. I'm all for it. Complainers, like the friend on the phone, will complain endlessly without looking for a solution. Life is a problem that will be hard, if not impossible to solve. Counselor who take a compliment, counselors who take a compliment and spin it. You look good today becomes, you mean, I looked bad yesterday? Oh my god. Casualties who think the world is against them and blame their problems on others. Critics who judge others for either having a different opinion or not having one, for any choices they've made that different from what the critic would have done. Commanders who realize their own limits but pressure others to succeed. They'll say, "You never have time for me," even though they're busy as well. Competitors who compare themselves to others, controlling and manipulating to make themselves or their choices look better. They are in so much pain, they want to bring others down. Often we have to play down our successes around these people because we know they can't appreciate them. Controllers who monitor and try to dictate how their friends or partners spend time and with whom and what choices they make. Don't judge someone with different disease. Don't expect anyone to be perfect. Don't think you're perfect, of course. Instead of judging negative behavior, we try to neutralize it and change, or even reverse it to the positive. Once you recognize your complainer as looking for the solutions, you realize you don't have to provide them. If when a commander says you're too busy for me, you can say, should we plan a time that works for both of us? The categories above help us to step away from the negative person in order to make clear-headed decisions about our role in the situation. The monk ways and dig to the root, diagnose and clarify a situation so you can explain it simply to yourself. Let's use the approach to define strategies for dealing with negative people. Also lead to awareness. We approach negativity, any type of conflict, really, by taking a step back to remove ourselves from the emotional charge of the moment. 그쵸. Yeah, that's true. If someone is nice to me, I cannot be happy or even feel good about myself. Instead of reacting compulsively and retaliating, we could enjoy our freedom as human beings and refuse to be upset. For now, I'll say it helps us find understanding without judgment. Negativity is a trait. It's not someone's identity. It's a trait, okay? A person's true nature can be obscured by clouds, but like the sun, it is always there. Any clouds can overcome any of us. We have to understand this when we deal with the people who exude negativity energy. Negative energy, just like we wouldn't want someone to judge us by our worst moments, we must be careful not to do that to others. Yes, when someone hurts you, it's because they hurt. Their hurt is simply spilling over. They need help. And as Dalai Lama says, if you can help others, if you cannot do that, at least do not harm them. The simple response is to back slowly away. Just as in our last chapter we let go of the influences that interfere with our values, we want to cleanse ourselves of a negative attitude that clouds our look. Letting go gives us a freedom. The freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our hurt we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. I encourage you to purge or avoid physical triggers and negative thoughts and feelings Like the sweatshirt your ex gave you, or the coffee shop where you always run into a former friend. If you don't let go physically, you will let go emotionally. I don't mean for you to take this as a literary. They label each of your friends as a negative or uplifting, but aim for the feeling that at least 75% of your time is spent with people who inspire you rather than bring you down. Do your part in making the friendship as an uplifting exchange. Don't just spend time with the people who love. Group with them. Take a class, read a book, do a workshop. Shanghai is in Sanskrit word for the community. It suggests a refuge where people serve and inspire each other. Okay, our aspiration for purity. The more we define ourselves in relationship to the people around us, the more lost we are. Real freedom is letting go of things not wanted. Letting go doesn't mean wiping away negative thoughts, feelings, and ideas completely. Oh, it's not. Okay, letting go doesn't mean wiping away negative thoughts, feelings, and ideas completely. The truth is that these thoughts will always arise. It is what we do with them that makes the difference. The neighbors and the barking dog is an annoyance. It will always interrupt you. The question is how you guide and respond. The key to real freedom is self-awareness. If your evaluation of your own negativity, keep in mind that even small actions have consequences. Even when you become more aware of other negativity and say, she's always complaining, we ourselves are being negative. At the ashram, we slept under mosquito nets. Every night we closed our nets and used flashlights and confirmed that they were in a clear-up box. One morning I woke up and discovered that a single mosquito had been in my net, and I had at least 10 bites. I thought I was something. The Dalai Lama said, if you think you're too smart to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Pity, negative thoughts and words are like mosquito. Even the smallest one in a cab rob us in our peace. To purify our thoughts, we must talk about a process of awareness, addressing, and amending. I like to remember this as a spot, stop, sweep. First, we become aware of a feeling or issue we spot it. Then we pause to discern what we're feeling is and where it comes from. We stop to consider it. At last, we amend our behavior. We sweep in a new way of processing that moment. Stops, a spot, stop, sweep. Spot. Becoming aware of negative means learning to spot the toxic impulses around you. To help us in confronting our negativity, and our monk teachers told us to try not to complain, compare, or criticize for a week, and I keep telling how many times we failed. The goal was to see daily tally decrease. The more aware become of their tendencies, the more we might free ourselves from them. Keep a tally of negative remarks you make over the course of the week. See if you can make your tally number go down. The goal is 0. What we judge or envy or suspect in someone else's can guide us to the darkness we have within ourselves. 맞아요. The evil king projected his own dishonor onto the good king. In the same way, our envy or impatience or suspicion whether someone else tells us something about ourselves. Negative projection and the suspicions reflect our own insecurities and get in our way. If you decide in your voice against you, it can affect you emotionally. You might be so discouraged that you don't perform well at work, or practically you are asking the raise you deserve. Either way, like an evil king, you are the one you will go hungry. Okay. Stop. When you better understand the roots of your negativity, we next step is to address it. Silence your negativity to make room for thoughts and actions that add your life instead of taking away from it. Start with your breath. When you're stressed, we hold our breath and clench our jaws. Remember, saying whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want is not freedom. Real freedom is not feeling the need to say these things. Oh my god. Remember, saying whatever we want, whenever we want, whoever we want, and however we want is not freedom. Real freedom is not feeling the need to say these things. When we limit our negative speech, we may find that we have a lot of less to say. We may even feel inhibited. Nobody loves an awkward silence, but it's worth it to free ourselves from negativity. Criticizing someone else's work ethic doesn't make your work harder. Comparing your marriage to someone else's doesn't make your marriage better unless you do so thoughtfully and productively. Judgment creates an illusion that if you see well enough to judge, then you must be better. Then if someone else is failing, then you must be moving forward. In fact, it is careful, thoughtful observation that moves us forward. It is important to find our significance not from thinking other people have it better, but from being the person we want to be. Swept. After spotting and stuffing the negative in your heart, mind, and speech, you can begin to mend it. Most of us monks were unable to completely avoid complaining, comparing, and criticizing, and you can't expect you will completely cure our habit either. But researchers have found that happy people tend to complain, wait for it, mindfully, while thoughtlessly venting complaints makes you the worst. It's been shown that writing in a journal about an upsetting event, giving attention to your thoughts and emotions, can foster growth and healing, not only mentally but also physically. We might say we are angry or sad when it's just offended and disappointed. Instead, we can better manage our feelings and by choosing our words carefully. Instead of describing ourselves and feeling angry, sad, anxious, hurt, embarrassed, and happy, the Harvard Business Review lists 9 more specific words that we could use for each one of those emotions. Instead of being angry, we might better describe ourselves as annoyed, defensive, or as spiteful. Monks are considered quite because they're trained to choose their words so carefully that it takes some time. We choose words carefully and use them with a purpose. If I only find joy in my own successes, I am living my joy. But if I can take a pleasure in successes of my friends and family, 10, 20, 50 people, I get to experience 50 times happiness and joy. Who doesn't want that? I ask him how you stay peaceful and be positive force in the world where there is so much negativity. There is a toxicity everywhere around us, in the environment, and the political atmosphere, but the reason in people's hearts, unless we clean an ecology of our own heart to inspire others to do the same, we will be an instrument in polluting the environment. But if we create beauty in our own heart, then we can contribute a great purity to the world around us. We will talk about strategies to manage and minimize the daily negativity in our lives. But no associates like complaining, comparing, and gossip can peel manageable next and being negative emotions like pain and anger. We all harbor anger in some form, anger from the past, or anger at people who continue to play a big role in our lives. Anger at misfortune, anger at the living and the dead, anger turned inward. Classmates in a snack quiz for forgiveness. They suggest that you bring patience and forbearance to your dealing with others. Sometimes we have been wounded so deeply that we can't imagine how we might forgive a person who hurt us. But contrary to what most of us believe, forgiveness is primarily an action we take within ourselves. Sometimes it's better and safer and healthier not to have a direct contact with a person's head. Other times, the person who hurt us is no longer bound to be forgiven directly. But those factors don't impact forgiveness because it is, first and foremost, internal. It frees you from anger, represent ignorance, impulsivity, and goodness. I have found that these three motions can be applied to any activity. For example, when you pull back from the conflict and look for understanding, it's very useful to try and shift from rajas, impulsive and passion, to sattva and goodness and positive and peace. These modes are the foundation of the approach to forgiveness. Okay, an eye for an eye. Revenge is a mode of ignorance. It's safe to say that you can't fix yourself by breaking someone else. Most don't. Hence their choices and feeling on others' behavior. You 아이고 죄송해요. You believe revenge will make you feel better because of how the others in the persons will react. But when you make your vindictive play, and a person doesn't have to respond to you, fantasize about it, guess what? You only feel more pain. Revenge backfires. When you rise above revenge, you can begin a process of the forgiveness. People tend to think in binary terms. You either forgive someone or you don't forgive someone, but as I was suggested more than once, there are often multiple levels. Where is it? I lost. Okay. Once in this book, there are often multiple levels. These levels give us a leeway to do where we are, to progress in our own time, and to climb on as far as we can. Okay. On the scale of forgiveness, the bottom, though it is higher than revenge, is zero forgiveness. I'm not going to forgive that person no matter what. I don't want to hurt them, but I never just going to forgive them. On this step, we are still stuck in anger, and there is no resolution. As you might imagine, this is an uncomfortable place to stay. The next step is in something called transformational forgiveness. This is a forgiveness in the mode of goodness. In transformational forgiveness, we find the strength and calmness to forgive without expecting an apology or anything else to return. There is one level higher on the forgiveness ladder, unconditional forgiveness. This is the level of forgiveness that a parent often has for a kid. No matter what the child does or will do, the parents has already forgiven them. The good news is that I'm not suggesting you aim for that. What I want you to achieve is a transformation of forgiveness. Forgiveness has been shown to bring peace to our minds. Forgiveness actually conserves the energy. Transformation of forgiveness is linked to a slew of health improvements, including fewer medication take, better sleep quality, yes of course, and the reduction of somatic systems including back pain, headache, nausea, and fatigue. Forgiveness and ease stress because we no longer recycle the anger thoughts, both conscious and subconscious. The stress that that stress us out in the first place. Emotionless. Hmm. It covers where the victim was able to forgive their spouse, both hardness and blood pressures decreased. It's just not going to show that forgiveness is good for everyone. Sometimes when we feel shame or guilt for what we've done in the past, it's because those actions no longer reflect our values. Now, when we look at our former selves, okay? Now, when we look at our former selves, we don't relate to their decisions. This is actually good news. The reasons we are hurting over in our past is because we made progress. We did the best that we could then, but we can do better now. What could be better than moving forward? We are already winning. We are already not crushing it. When you wrap our heads around the fact that we can undo the past, of course, we begin to accept our imperfections and mistakes, and forgive ourselves, and in doing so, open ourselves up to the emotional healing we all yearn for. This is when you feel more free and at peace because then you're truly able to let go. Negativity is a natural part of life. We tease and provoke, express our vulnerability, connect our shredded values and fears. It's hard to find a comedy show that isn't based on negative observations, but there's a line between negativity that helps us navigate life and negativity that puts more pain out into our world. Okay, whisper, stop, and sweep, observe, reflect, and develop new behaviors to replace the negativity in our lives, always striving towards self-discipline and bliss. 맞아요. When you stop feeling so curious about others' misfortunes and instead take a pleasure in their successes in your healing, the less you fixing it on anyone or everyone else, the more time you have to focus on yourself. Hey, we talk about strategies to manage and minimize daily negativity in our lives. So I just read that already. Conditional, okay. Peace of mind. Forgiveness has been shown to bring peace to our minds. Forgiveness actually conserves energy. 맞아요. Transformational forgiveness is linked to the slew of health improvements, including fewer medications taken. I read this one. Forgiving ourselves, elevate. This is when you feel more free and at peace because you're truly able to let go. Negativity is a natural part of life. Let go, flow, yeah. Let go, letting go, just letting go. We tease and provoke, express vulnerability, connect our shred, connect our shared values and fears. It is to find a comedy show that isn't based on negative observations, but there is a line between negativity that helps us navigate life and the negativity that puts more pain out into our world. Fear. Fear? Okay, the truth is we'll never live entirely without fear and anxiety. Yeah, we will never be able to fix our economy, social, political climates to entirely eliminate conflict and uncertainty, not to mention our everyday and the personal challenges. And that's okay because fear isn't bad. It's just simply a warning flag. You might say, this doesn't look good, something might go wrong. Oh. It's what we do with an insignificant matters. We can use our fear of the effects of climate change to motivate us to develop solutions, or we can allow it to make us feel overwhelmed, warmed, and hopeless, and do nothing as a result. 맞아요. Sometimes fear is in a critical wanting to help us survive in a true danger, but most of the time, what we feel is anxiety related to everyday concerns about money, jobs, and relationships. We allow anxiety, everyday fear, to hold us back by blocking us from our true feelings. Not only hold on to fears, the more we ferment until eventually they become toxic. Half an hour earlier, I've been so sure I wasn't scared of anything, and suddenly I wasn't uncovering my deepest fears and anxieties, which I had managed to hide completely from myself for years. By gently but consistently asking myself what I was scared of, I refused to let my mind dodge the question. Our brains are really good at keeping us from entire and uncomfortable spaces. But by repeating a question rather than rephrasing it, we essentially corner our brain. Now it's not about being aggressive in ourselves. This isn't an interrogation. It's an interview. You want to ask yourself the question with sincerity, not force. I earned, I'm sorry, I learned. I learned to let go of my fear of punishment, humiliation, or failure. And there are accompanying negative attitudes in a non-appropriate way, misguided attempts at self-protection. I can recognize an opportunities that fear signals. Fear can help us identify and address patterns in thinking and behavior that don't serve us. Often we notice fear's warning but ignore its guardians. If we learn how to recognize what fear can teach us about ourselves, what we value, then we can use it as a tool to obtain a greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives. We can use fear to get to the best of us. We waste a lot of time and try to stay in a comfortable bubble of our self-made and false fears. I fear the stresses and the changes of change, but those stresses and challenges are the one that make us stronger. If we can stop being stressed and the fear that often accompanies it negative, I would say, not navigate. It has a negative and instead see the potential benefits. We are on our way to change our relationship with fear. When your brain shuts fear, your body can't differentiate between whether the threat is real or imagined. Whether the survivor is in jeopardy or you are thinking about your taxes. As soon as the fear signal goes off, our bodies prepare us to fight or flee, or sometimes to freeze. If we launch into a high alert fear state too often, all of those stress and hormones, or what's hormones? Hormones? Oh, okay. Those stress hormones start to send us downhill, affecting our immune systems and our sleep and our ability to heal. Yeah, when you deal with the fear and hardship, you realize that you are capable of dealing with your fear and hardship. This gives you a new perspective, the confidence that when bad things happen, you will find a way to handle them. 맞아요. With that increasing objectivity, you become better able to differentiate what's actually worth being afraid of and what's not. From the fear meditation I described above, I came away with the idea that we have four different emotional reactions to fear. We panic, we freeze, we run away, or we bury it. As I have buried my anxiety about my parents. The first two are short-term strategies, while the second two are long-term, but all of them distract us from situation and prevent us from using our fear productively. In order to change our relationship with fear, we have to change our perception of it. Once we can see the value that fear offers, we can change in how we respond. An essential step is in reprogramming is learning to recognize our reaction pattern to fear. 맞아요. Oh, I think I have this one. Okay, I've mentioned that amongst beginner growth process with awareness, just as we do when facing negativity. We want to externalize our fear and take a step back from it, becoming objective observers. The process of learning to work with fear is just about doing a few exercises that solve everything. It's about changing your attitude toward fear, understanding that it has something to offer, then committing to do the work of identify and trying to shift it out of your pattern of distraction every time it appears. It's of the four distractions from fear: panicking, freezing, running away, and burying isn't a different version of a single action, or rather, a single inaction, refusing to accept our fear. So the first step is transforming our fear from negative to a positive is doing just that. Accept your fear. To close and get with your fear, you must acknowledge its presence. We hold us and take a deep breath and silently say, I see you, to our pain. That was the first acknowledgement of our relationship with fear, to breathe in and repeat, I see you, my pain, I see you, my fear. And as we breathe out, we say, I see you and I'm here with you. I see you and I'm here for you. Pain makes us pay attention. Or it should be, when you say, I see you, you're giving it the attention to ask for. Just like a crying baby needs to be heard and held. Breathing steadily while we acknowledge our fear helps us calm our mental and physical responses in its presence. Walk toward our fear. Become familiar with it. In this way, we bring ourselves into full presence with the fear. When you wake up and there's a small alarm going on, you would acknowledge what is happening in the moment, and then you would get out of your house. Later, in a calmer state, you would have reflected on how the first started or where it came from. You would have called the insurance company. You would have taken control of the narrative. That is recognizing and staying in the present time with the fear. Okay? Along with accepting our fear, we must get personal with it. This means recognizing the situation in which it regularly appears. A powerful question to ask your fear, again, with kindness and sincerity, as many times as necessary. When do I feel you? After my initial work with fear at the monastery, I continue to identify all of the spaces and situations in which my fear emerged. My root fear influenced my decision making. That awareness now prompts me when I reach a decisive moment to take a closer look and ask myself, is this a decision influenced by how others will perceive me? And this way, I can use my awareness and my fear as a tool to help me make decisions that are truly in line with my values and purpose. Sometimes we can trace our fears through the actions we take, and sometimes it's in actions we are reluctant to take. Patterns for distracting ourselves from the fear are established when we are young. We are deeply ingrained, so it takes some time and effort to recover them. Recognizing our fear patterns to help us trace the fear to root. From there, we can discover whether there is truly any cause of urgency or whether our fear can actually lead us to recognize the opportunities to live more alignment with our values, passion, and purpose. Though we are developing intimacy with our peer, we want to see it as it's our entity separate from it. When we talk about our emotions, so we usually say we are that emotion. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm afraid. Talking to fears and separates from us and helps us understand that fear is not us. It is just something we are experiencing. When you meet someone who gives off a negative vibe, you feel it, but you don't think that vibe is you. It's the same with our emotions. There is something they're feeling, but they're not us. Try to shift it. I'm angry too. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel afraid. A simple change but a profound one, because it puts our emotions in a rightful place. Having this in perspective calm down our initial reactions, yeah, and they give us a space and examine our fear, yeah, and the situation around it without judgment, yes. We can shift our fear to a soaring sense of freedom. Our teachers made a distinction between the usual and hurtful fears. They told us that usual fear allows us in a situation we can change. It's not possible to control all external events, but if I simply control my mind, what needed is there to control other things? This is a detachment. When you observe your own reactions from a distance, with your monk mind, making decisions with a clear perspective. Detachment is an ultimate practice in minimizing fear. Once I identified my anxiety about disappointing my parents, I was able to detach from it. I realized I had to take a responsibility for my life. My parents might be upset, they might not. I had no control over that. I could only make decisions based on my values. 맞아요. This is a lifelong practice. 맞아요. 맞아요, 진짜. Wow, beautiful. This is a lifelong practice, but as you become more and more accepting of the fact that we don't truly own or control anything, you will find yourself actually enjoying and valuing people, things, and experiences more, and being more thoughtful about which ones you choose to include in your life. Wow. Oh, it's beautiful. This paragraph is beautiful. This is a lifelong practice. But as you become more and more accepting of the fact that we don't truly own or control anything, you will find yourself actually enjoying and valuing people, things, and experiences more, and being more thoughtful about which ones you choose to include in your life. Right away, my friend went in a panic mode. When you panic, you start anticipating outcomes that have not yet come to pass. Fear makes us fiction writers. 맞아요. We start with a premise, an idea, a fear that will happen if. Then we spiral off, devising possible future scenarios. When you anticipate future outcomes, fear holds us back, imprisoning us in our imaginations. The Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca observed that our fears are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in our imagination than reality. Oh my gosh. Seneca. 책 읽고 싶어. Seneca. Our fears are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in imagination than reality. We can manage acute stress if we detach it on the spot. There is no old twist and problem. Okay, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Yeah. During my monk training, we are taught, don't judge the moment. Don't judge the moment. Don't judge the moment. Instead of judging the moment, we need to accept his situation and whatever came of it, focusing on cool control. I motivated him in first slowing everything down, then acknowledging the facts of his situation. He had lost his job, period. From there, he had a choice. He couldn't panic or freeze, or he could have taken opportunities to work with the fear as a tool, using it as an indicator of what truly mattered to him and to see what new opportunities might arise. Because he slowed down, accepted his fear, and gained the journey around it, he was able to diffuse his panic and to see that fear was actually allowing him to an opportunity. Time is another form of wealth. He realized that while he had lost his job, he had gained something else and very valuable. Using his newfound time, he was not only more present in his and kids' lives, but he also ended up getting new, better job. Reframing the situation stopped him from the draining energy negatively and encouraged him to start applying it positively. Still, it's hard to not judge the moment, and remain open to the opportunity when the unknown features inside a whirlwind through your body and brain. Sometimes our panic and freeze responses rush ahead of us and make it a difficult suspend judgment. Let's talk about strategies to help us amend panic and fear. Fortunately, a simple, powerful tool to short-circuit the pain response is always with us. Our breath before I give a talk. Understanding off stage related to my introduction, I'll feel my heart beat faster and my hands are getting moist. Like the rest of us, we feel most of our fear physically. Panic and freezing are disconnected between our bodies and our minds. Without our bodies are going on high alert and rush over the mental processes, to our minds and racing our bodies and start to shut down. As a monk, I learned a simple breathing exercise to help realign my body and mind and stop fear from stopping me. I still use it every time I'm about to give a talk to a large group, and a stressful meeting, or going to the room full of people I don't know. Try this and don't panic. Use your breath and realign your body and mind. Breathe into the calm and relax yourself meditation. Inhale slowly to the count of 4. Hold for the count of 4. Exhale slowly to the count of 4 or more. Repeat until you feel your heart rate and slow down. It's really that easy. Okay, you see, deep breathing activates a part of your nerve system called the vagus nerve, which is turn stimulation relaxation response through our bodies. The simple active and controlling breathing is like flipping a switch that shifts in our nerve system from the sympathetic or in the flight freeze state in the parasympathetic or just resting in digestion state, allowing our mind and our body to get back in sync. Breeze isn't usable on the spot, but some fears are hard to dispel within our breath alone. When we go during a period of instability, we fear what's ahead. In the moment, we can see a complete picture. But when the stressful period passes, we never look back to learn from the experience. Life is a collection of the unrelated events. It's a narrative that stretches into the past and the future. We are natural storytellers, and we can use an proclivity to our detriment to tell horror stories and possible and future events. Better to try seeing our lives as a single, long, continuing story, not just disconnected pieces. When you are hired for a job, take a moment and reflect on all the lost jobs and the failed enemies that led to the victory. You can think of them as necessary changes along the way. When you learn to stop segmenting experience and the periods of life instead of see them as scenes and actions in a larger narrative, we gain perspective and they help us deal with fear. Now take a moment to express gratitude for those challenges and weave them into the story of your life. Admittedly, we do our best to celebrate in hindsight. Insight, hindsight, hindsight. When we are actually experiencing challenges, it's really difficult to tell ourselves this could end up being a good thing, but the more we practice looking at revenue meter and the final gratitude for the hard time we've experienced, the more we start to change our programming, the gap between suffering and gratitude gets smaller and smaller, and the intensity of our fear is moments of hardship begins to diminish. Panic and freezing can be dealt with using a breeze and by reframing the circumstances, but these are short-term fear responses. It is much harder to control two long-term strategies, and we use it to distract us from fear. Burying and running away. One of my favorite ways to understand how this strategy works involves in a house on fire. Let's say you wake up in the middle of the night to a smoke detector beeping. Immediately you're afraid, as you should be, and as soon as it is job, which wasn't get your attention. Now you smell smoke and you gather your family and pets together, and you get out of the house right. This isn't a fear put to its best use. But what if, upon hearing a smoke alarm, instead of quickly assessing the situation and taking the logical next steps, you hurried over the smoke detector, removed the battery, and went back to bed? As you can imagine, your problems in about magnify. Yet that's what we often do with fear. Instead of assessing or responding, we deny or abandon the situation. Relationships are a space where we don't commonly use a solution of avoidance. Let's say you're having some major conflict with your girlfriend. Rather than sitting down with her and talking about what's going on, putting out the fire, and even figuring out that you aren't meant to be together, safely and calmly getting everyone out of the house. You pretend everything's fine. Why don't you distract them in a fire burns on? When we deny fear, our problems follow us. In fact, they're probably getting bigger and bigger, and then at some point something will force us to deal with them. When all else fails, pain doesn't make us pay attention. If we learn from the signal that alerts us in a problem, we will end up learning from the results of the problem itself, which is far less desirable. But if we face our fear, we stay, we deal with it at fire, we have a tough conversation, we become stronger as a result. He doesn't run from it or bury it, we faces it. He asks for help in the form of insight and understanding and the reaction. He has begun to shift from being control of his spirit to understanding it. What you run from on your stage which are longer. Invisible Monster Ceramics. Find what you're afraid of the most and go live there. When fear is spirit, it's something we cling to, and then it makes everything feel tight because it is under a burden of things that we never released. 맞아요. Whether you suppress them or run away them, your fears and your problems remain with you and they accumulate. Take a deep dive. Take a deep dive into your fears. At first, if your surfaces, 11 fears will pop up. Stay with an exercise, asking yourself, what am I really afraid of? And the larger and deeper fears will begin to reveal themselves. These answers don't usually come all at once. Typically, it takes some time and think, building layers to real root of your fears. Be open to an answer revealing itself over time, and maybe not, even during a meditation or another focused session. You may be at the grocery store selecting avocado one day where all of the sudden is done on you. That's just how we operate. Going through the process of acknowledging fear, observing our parents and dealing with it, addressing and amending those patterns help us reprogram our view of fear from something that's inherently negative to a neutral signal or even an indicator of opportunity. 오케이, fear가 그렇구나. opportunity 기회다. When we classify fear, we can look past and smoke stories and what's real, and then in so doing uncover deep and meaningful truths that can inform and empower us. When we identify our attachment-related fears instead of false attachment, we can live within a greater sense of freedom and enjoyment. And when we channel the energy behind our fears into our services, we diminish our fear of not having enough and feel happier, more fulfilled, and more connected to the world around us. Fear motivates us. Sometimes it motivates us toward what we want. But sometimes if we aren't careful, it limits us in what we think will keep us safe. 오케이. 배고파요. 배가 왜 고프지? 밥 먹었는데. In our heads, we have an imagine. I'm sorry. In our heads, we have images of an ideal life, our relationships, how we spend our time at work and leisure, what we want to achieve. But now we will figure out what drives these ambitions, whether they are likely to make us truly happy, and whether happiness is even the right target. Okay.